Meantime, the Lakers. Okay, so here's what LeBron says. There have been times when we're at our best, we look really good. And there are other times where it's disgusting.
You know what that sounds like, Ernie?
What?
Sounds like an old man. Like when you wake up in the morning, sometimes I'll be like, ooh, I feel good. Then that next day you be like,
that's disgusting.
Sciatica, it's hurt.
Charles Barkley went after the Los Angeles Lakers again, and somehow this time the jokes hit even harder because of how painfully accurate they felt. The Washington Generals comparison, the over-the-top Oprah Winfrey impression, even the sciatica joke aimed directly at LeBron James, Chuck wasn't filtering anything. He came out firing from the start and didn't soften a single comment. And honestly, that's why the segment blew up so fast online. Because Barkley has this way of mixing comedy with criticism where people are laughing 1 second and then realizing, wait, he might actually have a point. That's what made this rant different. It wasn't just random trolling, it felt like frustration mixed with brutal honesty about the way the Lakers have been playing. The Washington Generals line especially hit hard because that comparison basically paints the Lakers as the team that shows up looking completely unprepared against serious competition. Then Barkley shifted into full entertainment mode with the impressions and jokes, but underneath all of it was a real message about effort, consistency, and whether this Lakers team is actually built to handle pressure when things get difficult. And once he brought LeBron into it with the sciatica comments, you could tell he was targeting the bigger conversation too: age, durability, and whether LeBron can realistically keep carrying this level of responsibility deep into a playoff run. Chuck turned the whole thing into comedy, but underneath the jokes was a very direct challenge to the Lakers and their superstar leader.
Why? Why do you hate the Lakers? Chuck, tell us.
Why I hate the Lakers? It's always somebody else's fault. Remember 3 years ago, it was Russell Westbrook's fault. Then it was Frank Vogel's fault. Then it was D'Angelo Russell's fault. Then it was Darvin Ham's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And it bothers me. Listen, you don't always blame other people for your shortcomings.
But my point is, it's got to do with style of play, got to do with
effort, Kenny.
Effort?
Yeah,
Come on, Kenny. This is the same thing.
Let's just appreciate Charles Barkley for a second before we even break down what he actually said, because at this point, the man has turned Los Angeles Lakers commentary into pure entertainment history. Every time Chuck starts talking about the Lakers, it feels less like a sports segment and more like a stand-up comedy special mixed with brutal honesty. The crazy part is, he doesn't even need complicated analysis to make his point land. One joke, one comparison, one random analogy, and suddenly the entire internet is repeating it for the next 48 hours. The Washington Generals line? Instant classic. The impressions? Completely unnecessary, which somehow made them even funnier. And the reason it all works is because Barkley says everything with the confidence of somebody who genuinely does not care who gets offended. But underneath all the comedy, there's usually a real basketball point hiding in there somewhere. That's why his Lakers rants always blow up. People laugh first, then they stop and realize, wait, he might actually be right. And honestly, that combination of humor and truth is what makes Barkley one of the most entertaining voices in basketball media today.
Like an Oprah Winfrey show, you get a basket, you get a basket, you get a basket. Everybody who plays against the Lakers, they gonna make everybody look good. I mean, they're like the Washington Generals. They every team's the Globetrotters against them. I mean, and we can keep sugarcoating it, and I know they gonna make us talk about the Lakers. The Lakers are a mediocre team.
NBA fans already know the Los Angeles Lakers are basically Charles Barkley's favorite topic at this point. Not because he loves them, actually the complete opposite. The Lakers somehow keep giving him the perfect material for the kind of commentary that has people laughing so hard they almost miss the actual basketball point he's making. Every time something goes wrong for the Lakers, Chuck treats it like Christmas morning. One bad quarter, one defensive breakdown, one awkward LeBron interview, and suddenly Barkley is out there delivering another legendary rant with jokes, impressions, and comparisons nobody else would even think to say on live television. And the funniest part is how natural it feels when he does it. He doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds like a guy watching the game with his friends, completely losing patience in real time, except somehow every line becomes instantly quotable online. That's why fans keep waiting for his Lakers reactions after big games, because even people who disagree with him know there's a good chance he's about to say something unforgettable. At this point, the Lakers don't just play basketball anymore. Half the time, it feels like they're accidentally creating new material for the next Charles Barkley segment.
Dallas played without Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. This was all about the Lakers.
And the Lakers proved to what I keep saying. The Lakers stink, plain and simple. We have to talk about them because the media is infatuated with the Lakers. But the Lakers are not a good team. They got zero athletic ability. They got a good shot every time. The Lakers could never keep them in front of them. This was a coaching masterpiece by Jason Kidd because there's no way that team that the Mavs put out there, especially one winning by 20, basically.
Oh, yeah.
The Los Angeles Lakers have honestly been the comedy gift that keeps giving for Charles Barkley over the last few years. Every time it feels like the jokes might slow down, the Lakers somehow hand him brand new material, and the latest episode of Inside the NBA was another perfect example. This time, the setup came directly from LeBron James himself. LeBron admitted in a press conference that sometimes the Lakers look great at their best, and other times, in his own words, they look disgusting. And the moment that quote hit television, you just knew Barkley was going to have a field day with it. Because think about how wild that sounds for a second, the face of the franchise basically describing his own team as disgusting in public. Depending on how you look at it, that's either brutal honesty and self-awareness, or a superstar quietly sounding frustrated with everything going on around him. Either way, Chuck immediately grabbed onto that quote and turned it into another unforgettable Lakers segment.
He just described who he should be and who the team should be based on what their personnel is at that time. They are old in certain parts. They don't have perimeter.
Wait, he's the only one old.
But they don't have perimeter defense. Young at the perimeter. So now there's no resistance for guys to get downhill.
Yes.
And I think that is the biggest thing. You know, yes, they don't have a great shot blockers, but they have shot blockability. But they do not have resistance at the 1, 2, and 3 position. And that is indicative of why they play.
Charles Barkley took LeBron James's quote and somehow turned it into one of the funniest moments inside the NBA has had all season. Barkley said the way LeBron described the Los Angeles Lakers sounded exactly like an older person waking up in the morning. One day you feel amazing, everything works, your legs feel fresh, your back feels good, and you think you can conquer the world. Then the next day, the sciatica kicks in, your body is screaming at you, and suddenly nothing wants to cooperate. The timing, the delivery, the comparison, the entire studio completely lost it. Everybody on the set was laughing because it was such a ridiculously specific image, but at the same time, it also felt painfully accurate. And that's why the joke landed so hard. It wasn't just Barkley roasting LeBron for the sake of entertainment. There was an actual basketball point underneath it. LeBron is still competing at an unbelievably high level in his 40s, which honestly should not even be possible in the NBA. But with that comes inconsistency from night to night, not necessarily because of effort, but because asking a 41-year-old body to survive an NBA schedule is completely different from asking a 27-year-old superstar to do it. That's basically what Barkley was getting at with the joke. Some nights the Lakers look explosive, sharp, and dangerous. Other nights they look exhausted, disconnected, and completely out of rhythm. And when LeBron himself publicly describes the team as disgusting at times, it almost perfectly feeds into Barkley's larger point about how unpredictable this version of the Lakers can be. And of course, the funniest part is that Chuck was nowhere near finished once that joke landed. With Barkley, one joke is never enough, especially when the Lakers keep giving him new material every week.
Play like that.
I agree
JJ
with
Bennett
Kenny.
going more to his own too, to address the defensive issues on that team.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, like Luka and Austin Reeves have been terrific offensively. Luka flirt with a triple-double every night. Austin Reeves been killing the league, averaging over 25 points, but they've been a turnstile on defense. And whoever comes to town can just beat them off the dribble, drive and kick, and get other guys open. But you wanted to also get more from DeAndre Ayton as an anchor when you acquire him as the Lakers, and he's been pedestrian a lot of times, and I just don't think the Lakers, even though LeBron does a really good job at his
But when
age,
you open a bee's nest and all the bees, it's hard to block all the bees. You got DeAndre in there like this. Like, come on, it's like
the Lakers,
you got to have resistance out front.
But even offensively.
The panel actually shifted into some real basketball talk at that point on Inside the NBA, and even with all the humor around it, the breakdown of the Los Angeles Lakers was pretty straightforward and honest. The main issue they pointed out is the lack of consistent perimeter defense from the guard and wing positions. When opposing guards and wings can get downhill whenever they want, everything else on the floor starts to break down. The bigs are forced into constant help situations, rotations get late, and the entire defense becomes reactive instead of controlling the action. Instead of dictating where the offense goes, the Lakers end up chasing plays after they've already started. That's where the discussion around DeAndre Ayton came in. He was brought in to be the interior anchor, the guy who cleans up mistakes, protects the rim, and gives structure to the defense when things break down on the perimeter. But the honest evaluation so far has been that he's been more average than dominant in that role. Not a disaster, but not the kind of defensive anchor that completely changes how teams attack you either. The bee's nest analogy made it really easy to understand. If you imagine the defense as a system trying to contain attackers, every breakdown on the perimeter is like letting another bee through the gate. Once too many get through at the same time, even a strong rim protector can't fix everything. You're dealing with multiple drives, collapsing rotations, and impossible recovery situations all at once. At that point, the math just stops working in your favor. And that's really the core of the Lakers' defensive problem right now, not just individual effort, but structural breakdowns that force everyone else into scramble mode.
The Lakers are a mediocre team. Now they got some really good teams in the West that we should be talking about, because I'm starting to get on this San Antonio bandwagon right now. Obviously we got OKC and Denver, we got Houston, but man, them Spurs, they're knocking on.
The Los Angeles Lakers are putting up serious offensive numbers right now, and even Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic have been outstanding on that end of the floor. Luka is basically flirting with a triple-double every night, and Reeves has elevated his scoring to over 25 points per game, which has made him one of the more impressive offensive stories in the Western Conference this season. On paper, this is a team that can absolutely score with anyone. When those three core pieces, LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, share the floor, it looks like pure offensive firepower. The problem is, it only happens occasionally, with just around a dozen games together so far. And that lack of continuity shows up in the overall identity of the team. That's where the jokes from Charles Barkley start to land even harder. His Oprah comparison, you get a basket, everybody gets a basket, wasn't just comedy. It was his way of pointing out how easy it is for opponents to score against this Lakers defense. Teams come in, attack the perimeter, get into the paint, kick out for open looks, and suddenly everybody on the opposing roster looks like a star. That's where the Washington Generals comparison came in, the idea that the Lakers, despite being a historic franchise, are currently the team that makes everyone else look better. And that's the uncomfortable truth behind all the humor. The Lakers aren't getting blown out every night, but they are inconsistent enough defensively that good teams can pick them apart, and bad teams can suddenly look elite against them. That middle ground is exactly what Barkley was highlighting, not bad enough to rebuild, not good enough to be a real championship threat. There are structural reasons for it too. The lack of perimeter resistance forces constant rotations, which puts pressure on bigs like DeAndre Ayton to clean up breakdowns that start on the outside. Even schemes like zone defense are being used as a workaround, but in the playoffs, elite teams usually find ways to break that down quickly. Meanwhile, the Western Conference is loaded, with teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, and even the rising San Antonio Spurs all presenting different kinds of challenges. In that environment, being inconsistent on defense is dangerous. That's why Barkley's commentary hits differently. He mixes humor with something that's actually grounded in how the game is being played. Underneath the jokes, the point is simple: the Lakers can score enough to compete with anyone, but until the defensive identity stabilizes, they're going to keep living in that unpredictable space where one night looks dominant and the next looks fragile.